Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is basically 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, December 3rd. So, as we always do, let's just check the calendar real quick. Uh, so, we had ADP come in this morning at minus 32K. So, good for the Fed to keep doing stuff, bad for the economy. So, there's a tug of war with the market on that. And then we're going to have ISM at 10 o'clock. And then President Trump is scheduled to talk about something at 2:30. I'm not sure what the topic is. And then, for the week, really not a lot going on. We're going to have our unemployment claims tomorrow, and then, core PCE and U of M on Friday. Looking back at yesterday's session, right, the overnight session, did its little yo-yo thing, and then, after the bell rang, it just kind of went through the top two-thirds of that area and then added to it in the overnight. But you can see the distribution was a lot different for the Nasdaq than the ES. The Nasdaq was more like a P formation, right, which would just be indicative of short covering action. Not that there was any shorts to go, but uh, very balanced in the ES. So we'll get into some distributions here in a minute. To keep me out of trouble, Fibs, right? Had that little liquidation break early and then just kind of, rode back up. But notice that we stayed within that liquidation break the rest of the session. And pretty much that's been the lid around that area for the overnight session as well tonight. Um, we had a split in the auction at 25,560. You could say it's 570 now because that was yesterday's high. Close enough for government work, but we're just sitting, uh, in there, and that's resistance. And what it really comes down to is that is the cash market uh, sitting there at 6850. So we've been kind of between 6,800 and 6,850 for 3 or 4 sessions now. So that'll be, interesting to see. And you can see we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be our fourth day up here at this high of the session. Yesterday's point of control is 68.41 quarter. So if we end up starting to build time and volume below there, you want to really be cautious because uh, the real targets would be these lows from yesterday and then going back to Monday as well. And then, you're starting to go back into this node, and then the real target would be a test near the 67.81 on weakness. On strength, you're looking to get past 68.77 and then see if you can build time and volume up. So the playing field right now is going to be 68.41 to 76 profile wise. And then, again, the NASDAQ doesn't have that same poor high rating as the ES, right? The NASDAQ's already trying to get back up above, and it's really targeting, or trying to target this high from November 12th. So that would, on the session, that would be, right around 830. So, basically 200 points higher. We'll see if we can get there or not this week. Uh, you can see right now, we're just still getting rejected from this 25,660, and we could make it all the way back towards the lows of the session or whatever. We'll just have to see uh, going on. It was an ugly read from ADP this morning. And then looking at positioning, 6,950 and 7,015, we're a ways from that. We closed in the cash market yesterday at 68.29. We're just a little bit off of unchanged and heading towards unchanged quickly right now. So we'll see, what that yields. But we're really looking at, to see what the SPY can do. If you look at the SPY, it's got, from 680 to 690 is really where the concentration of the calls and puts are. And you can see from 680 to 683 is really where the calls and puts agree. We're currently trading 682.21 right now in this retracement. So we're, right in here, but 680 is going to need VIX above yesterday's high of the day to, you could get into a negative feedback loop below there. Otherwise, you could probably test 685, and then we'll just have to see. So really, I want to see if 685 is the pivot in this thing, but it looks like we might get that test of 680 first thing this morning. I really don't have anything else to look at. We'll see what Jack's looking at next. And until proven otherwise, this, you know, 6850 to 6800, right? That's really where we've been in for several sessions now on the cash market. And we'll just have to see, if we get that. Anything else in there? And again, for the NASDAQ, uh, below, I'm sorry, for the S&P 500, below, uh, zoom out a little bit. Below 680, right? That's going to be your real trigger. So there's a lot between 680 and 683, right? And then you got that call wall at 685, and then you could potentially head up towards 690. So we'll see if this is just a retracement or if it's the start of a pretty good leg down. Uh, both are on the table. You guys have a great day. We'll see what Jack's looking at.